appreciate that very much. Hey, it's always good to get out with the workers of America, you know? The folks that make a difference. You make a difference. And you can make a difference. Now, it's interesting what you pick up when you go out on the road, you leave New York, and you go out, and here we are in Chicago. I'm just hearing a couple of rumors that the President of the United States, Barack Obama, who I am a huge supporter of and believer in, I know Howard Kurtz of the Washington Post and Fox News were saying that the liberals don't have a thrill up their leg anymore from the president. I still do, whatever that means. I mean, there's a lot of good news out there, right? The market's through the roof, record numbers, 53 months of private sector job growth, unemployment rates down below 6.5%, existing home sales are up in June, 2.6%. There's a lot of good stuff. And oh, by the way, we have restored every job lost during the Great Recession. So I have to ask the question, why are we attacking workers in America when things are pretty good? Greedy. They are greedy. And I call them out on it as often as I possibly can. And I'm going to call them out again tonight because today is the 5th anniversary of the last time we raised the minimum wage in this country, and that has to change. Now, you might think, well, how does that affect the Postal Service? Hey, wait a minute. We're all in this together. A rising tide lifts all boats. We care about all workers. That's who we are. But I hear the rumor that the president is a little bit busy as of late, no doubt about that. But I will call the president out. You can't forget where you came from. I know what this union did for President Obama to get elected and to get reelected. And you have my word, I'm going to make a call to the White House today and ask him why he won't meet with the 4 union heads who represent all of the postal workers in this country. I think President Obama is an honorable man. I think he's got a lot on his plate. But I just want to add a little bit more. It goes with the territory. The president needs to know, absolute, A to Z, your story and the destruction by the conservative movement in this country that they are taking to the Postal Service in this country. That story has to go to the Oval Office and it has to be pushed on Capitol Hill. We try to do as much as we can on the Ed Show for workers in America. And I want all of you to know that we can do things if we stick together. Most recently, I believe that the Ed Show had a hand in delaying the Keystone XL pipeline decision. The permit in South Dakota ran out. Now it's into more legal territory and more delay, and it should be, because it shouldn't be built. That's one example. The other example just recently is these unfair trade agreements that have taken place. South Korea dumping cheap steel on the American market and killing American jobs. Well, we got the Commerce Department through pressure to make sure that they put a tariff on that steel coming in. I want you to know, you've got to be confident we can get this done for the Postal Service. I know we can. I don't care who runs in the Democratic Party, and I hope I'm not offending any of you if you made a mistake and voted the wrong way against workers in your career, but I'm not a bipartisan speaker, so I hope I don't offend any of you. Look, it's an absolute. It's an absolute. You're either for workers or you're against workers. Yeah. That's it. We are living in an age of record profits for corporations. We are living in an age where we're seeing record numbers on the stock market. Well, you know what? They want more. They want to privatize what you do $37 billion out there. We got to get a chunk of that change. So what are we going to do? We're going to attack the workers. And we have to understand that this is a cultural effort that's taking place in America. They won't raise the minimum wage. They will attack voices in the workplace on the state level. They will introduce right-to-work legislation in 26 states across America. They will squash voices in the workplace. They'll take away your rights. They'll do everything they possibly can for profit.
Yep.
That's not the new economy I want. I don't think it's the new economy you want. I don't think it's the new economy that America wants to support. We see how divided the country is. Just the other day, we have one court ruling one way on Obamacare. We got another court ruling another way. Guess what? Elections have consequences. You decide elections, not the people running. You decide. You need to engage, and it all has to happen on a local level. I'll get back to that in a moment. The point that we need to drive home and what we need to collectively understand as workers, all unions across America, is that this is a generational effort. It is an ideology that is attacking workers. It started with Ronald Reagan. Every interview you see on Fox News, if Barack Obama has a problem, hell, they got to throw out Reagan's name. I'm sorry, no disrespect, but I like to listen to the people who are alive. I like to listen to the people who are with the workers. So they don't want to raise the minimum wage. They don't want you to have health care in America. They want to attack women and women's rights. There's an attack on public education. What haven't they attacked? They want America only to succeed in their view. A rising tide lifts all boats? They don't believe in that. Never have. We were told time and time again, you can't raise taxes on the job creators. Really?
Yeah.
Is that a fact? The Democrats made a mistake in 2010 when they extended the Bush tax cuts. Finally, in 2012, they said we're not going to extend the Bush tax cuts any further. We're going to go back to the old rates. The Republicans ran around the country saying that, well, that's a job killer. Really? Here we are in 2014. Every single month since the day we let the Bush tax cuts expire, this country has added jobs every single month. The conservative leadership has been wrong about the economy all along. They're wrong about the Postal Service. We try to do as many stories as we can to tell your story and the way they are attacking the Postal Service. And oftentimes, when we do the story, we always get emails from Americans saying, I didn't know that. No, that's right. There are no tax dollars used to run the Postal Service. Oh, you're bullshit.
Yeah.
No, this isn't Fox News. That is the truth. Well, the Postal Service hires more veterans than any other workforce, any other entity in America. Oh, that's not true. Oh, no, it is true. It is. And the Postal Service, did you know that the Postal Service is mandated to make sure that delivery goes to every street in America? Oh, no, that's not true. Oh, no, it is. Do you know that FedEx and UPS, if they didn't have the Postal Service, they'd be in a world of hurt bag? And let me explain that to you. The point I'm making is that there are politicians in Washington who have such a thirst for privatizing everything. They have lied so much to the American people believe it. Every headline that comes out, well, the Postal Service isn't making money. Really? What about that $5 billion check they got to write every year? Oh, they don't have to do that. Oh, no, they do. Remember 2006, the lame duck session of the Congress? You explain that to them on TV. We get emails. I don't know if that's true or not. And the misinformation campaign that the Postal Service has had to deal with is utterly amazing. There are some allies in Washington. There are, and we need more of, the Bernie Sanders of the world. We need more Sherrod Browns. We need more Elizabeth Warrens. You know? We need people who actually understand how important the middle class is in this country. We need people who understand how important it is to serve. You folks have served this country in a stellar manner. You have done the job. You're the most efficient thing this country has got going for it. And what do they want to do? They want to take it away. We have money to rebuild Baghdad. We have money to send to every foreign country. That really is our foreign policy right now, our military. That's the best thing we got going. What about our policy at home? Why is this attack on workers taking place? I'll tell you why. Because it's all about political power. There is one party that has one thing in mind, and it's a generational effort, and that is to destroy unions in this country. And the way to do it is you restrict their voices in the workplace, you go after right-to-work legislation, you come up with schemes on a state legislative level, you get power at the local level, and you don't give it up, and you go after workers, and you privatize as much as you can, and you destroy the worker base in this country. That's what they want to do, because they want power. And oh, by the way, I make the case wherever I go, George W. Bush was the most successful conservative president in our lifetime. It wasn't Reagan. No, it was Bush. Bush had 2 rounds of tax cuts, blew up the federal budget deficit damn near to the point of nowhere return so they could cut back government where they wanted. Bush put 2 extremists on the Supreme Court that gave us Citizens United. And now that's what you, the workers of America, are out fighting against. Money. It ain't freedom of speech. It's who has the privilege. It militates against the middle class, and it is un-American, and it is wrong, and we need to turn that around. Everything that I've said to you here in the last few minutes is the truth. I'm not making this stuff up. I can't go on TV and just say, well, this is the Edigen, and I'm just going to throw this out there and see how it flies, because I want people to watch. This is the truth. This is what is happening in America right now. I would venture to say that you're all moms and dads for the most part. A lot of you have grandkids. I know. Wendy and I got 11 of them. I'll be taking a collection up over here from the grocery club here. When they come to the lake, they eat everything. In fact, the Schultz family invented the F5 tornado. How else you want to live? The great thing about public education, and I know that many of you have had your kids in the public school systems because that's how middle-class Americans operate. When the doors open, everybody's welcome. The rich, the poor, the challenged, the gifted. Everybody's welcome. And the conservative movement in this country has decided that that's a problem. The conservative movement wants to attack public education. All of these radical governors who have gone in 2010, Christie, Walker, Snyder, Kasich, Scott, they're all attacking public education, cutting billions of dollars out, stealing the dream from your kid. They think this is a good policy. It's just another institution that made America great that they're trying to tear down, just like they're attacking you. Darrell Issa. Oh, come on now, you can boo a little bit better now. arguably the richest man in the United States Congress, by a few bucks here or there. He will never answer the question, Mr. Issa, would you run your business where you would fund your employees' health care and pension for the next 75 years? And would you do that in a 10-year window? Do you think that that is a good business model? He won't answer that. He knows the answer to it. But if you want to privatize, and it's a generational effort, if you want to get rid of the Postal Service, if you want to put it over to the corporations, you slowly chip away at it. You put something on their shoulders that they're going to have a hard time carrying. And that $5 billion check that you've been writing since 2006, it's adding up. And now, there's conversation in Washington by some conservatives who want to attack that fund and use that fund for other things and put it into the Treasury because we've got some deficits we've got to erase. Do you trust them? Hell no! You should not trust them. And so, Mr. President, I know some folks in the labor union that would really love to have a few minutes with you to make sure that you understand that the very people that put you in office, this is what they are up against. And it's wrong. It is wrong. So, how do we win this war? And it is a war on workers. That's what it is. Basically, when people ask, well, you know, what's the Ed Show all about? You know, they ask our team, they ask our executive producer, and basically it comes down to this. Who's getting screwed and who's doing the screwing? I mean, that's who's getting the shaft and who's doing the shafting. Who's getting run over, who's the driver and who's in the middle of the road. And every time it's the American worker that has not enough allies to make this economy strong. The middle class in this country is dwindling. We are getting to be a have and a have-not society. And I will tell you, I'm not speaking against my colleagues. This is America. I can say what I want to say. This isn't pointed at anyone. This is a generic statement. I don't think the national media gets it. Now, I've been very fortunate in my career. And most of the fruits of my life have come in the latter part of my career. But I will never forget where I came from. I just want to let you know that the people that give you the news on the national level, none of them at the microphone. I think the news would be a heck of a lot different. I think the priorities would be a lot different. I think the Kardashians would probably get a hell of a lot less attention if middle-class folks were doing the news in America. I have nothing against them, but they're out there all the time. I don't get it. How come workers' rights isn't out there enough? How come what's important to families, the bills on the kitchen table, the retirement security, the Social Security, the pension benefits, why don't we talk enough about that? Why don't we talk about the next round of health care? Why don't we talk about fair taxation? Why don't we talk about how the corporations are parking money offshore while the middle class in this country has to bear the brunt of feeding the Treasury, where everybody's not paying their fair share? See, the Postal Service in this country is just part of this big funnel that's being turned. You're one of many industries that's being attacked unfairly, and they've even legislated against you back in the lame duck session of 2006. I believe that if the right people get the House, get the Senate, and the White House, that we can turn that around. And it all starts on a local level. So I ask you to examine your conscience and your heart when you leave this convention and ask yourself the simple question, what can I do and can I do more? Reach out to your local media. Tell the story. Get in front of them off the air. Be an ally. Take it upon yourself to know Joe on the radio or Susie on the FM dial. Use your media. Get to know them. Tell them the story. Because they think tax dollars are being used to run the Postal Service. Because they don't understand the $5 billion check that you have to write every year. They don't understand the attack that's going on when it comes to privatization. But it's interesting, when you sit people down and you tell them your story for a few moments, it all falls into the realm of common sense, and people say, yeah, that's not right. It's amazing how many people you'll win over. But just remember, you won't win them over if you don't reach out. You won't win them over if you don't give the second effort. You won't win them over if you haven't asked yourself those two questions leaving this convention. What can I do? How do I do it? Have I done enough? Can I do more? Do I have the heart and the desire? Because you see, those kids that I was talking about that are going to public school and they belong to you, all of us, they're going to remember your legacy. What is your legacy going to be to your family? What is your legacy going to be to your community? What is your legacy going to be to this country? And we all can make a difference. I have one goal. One goal. I feel like I've been very fortunate. But with 6 kids and 11 grandkids, and I'm sure there's more coming, the only goal I have is when they put the fat, red-headed old man in the ground someday, just say that he had the guts to stand up and say something when things weren't right. Because